Welcome to The Real Review on Damn Good Radio, and I am your host, Warbucks. The movie, or should I say, the cinematic experience masquerading as television we are diving into today is The Vince Staples Show, specifically Season 1, Episode 4, released in the year of our Lord, 2024. Now, before we even peel back the layers of this onion, we need to understand the cultural temperature of the room. We are living in an era of content saturation, a time when the lines between reality and surrealism are blurred beyond recognition. And into this void steps Vince Staples, not just the rapper from Long Beach, not just the witty interviewee, but Vince Staples, the auteur, the satirist, the modern-day philosopher of the absurd. This episode, titled Red Door, is a masterclass in tension, comedy, and existential dread. It is directed by the visionary William Stefan Smith and penned by the man himself, Vince Staples, alongside staff writer Winter Coleman. What they have constructed here is not merely a sitcom episode, it is a fever dream. It is a descent into a very specific sun-drenched Californian purgatory. Tonight, we are not just watching a show, we are dissecting a psyche. We are looking at the reflection in the funhouse mirror and realizing the distortion is actually the truth. So adjust your dials, sit back, and let us take a walk through Surf City. First things first, this episode is titled Red Door, and we must give flowers where flowers are due. Shout out to William Stefan Smith, the director who framed this madness, and Vince Staples for writing it along with the brilliant staff writer, Winter Coleman. They have crafted a narrative that feels like a trap waiting to be sprung. Now, let us get right into this episode. We open in a space of confinement, the automobile, the modern American confession booth. Vince Staples is sitting in his car with his girlfriend, Deja, and in the back seat, you can see a couple of little boys. The framing here is tight and claustrophobic. Through the window, they witness a spectacle that sets the tone for the entire day. A guy in a fur character costume walking to his car across the lot, carrying his oversized mascot head in his arms, smoking a cigarette. He tries to start his car, but the engine groans and dies. It is a tableau of broken dreams right out of the gate. Vince looks at Deja, his expression deadpan, and asks, "Remind me why we did not go to Disneyland again?" Deja's reply is a sharp slap of economic reality. She shoots back, "You do not have Disneyland money. Park hoppers cost $900 a piece right now, and I love my little brother, but not that much. All 5 of us, that is a Gucci bag." You hear that? That is the sound of love battling capitalism. The little boy in the back, seemingly innocent, pipes up with, "Uncle Vince," and Vince, cold as ice, replies, "I am not your uncle." Deja hits his leg, giving him that universal look that says chill, but the damage is done. Another little boy asks if they are going to see Dude. Vince turns back, shattering the illusion immediately. "You know Dude is not real, right?" The boy is confused. "What?" Vince doubles down. "Just a guy in a suit like Steve Harvey." Then comes the request that drives the plot. "Can we get some chicken?" Vince asks. "Do you have chicken money?" Vince is so cold to these little boys, it is jarring, but as we peel back the layers and see his interactions later, particularly with how his mother is portrayed in the series, I feel like this is a direct reflection of how he was raised. It is a defense mechanism. Deja, trying to salvage the mood, says loudly and nicely to the boys, "Come on, everybody, put your headphones on." But the camera lingers on the little boy's face. He looks at Vince like he hates him. There is venom there. Deja, fed up, turns to Vince with an attitude and says, "I am going to need you to relax with the BS today." Vince plays innocent. "What BS?" She replies, "Your BS. Do not play dumb. It is DD's birthday and he looks up to you." Vince, ensuring the kids cannot hear, whispers back a line that cuts deep. DD is a wimp, and you would know that if you loved your brother for real. Got him out here begging for chicken. Deja's retort is legendary. "Hold up, this is not regular fried chicken, so act right or I am going to whoop that butt." She blows him a kiss, a mixture of threat and affection that defines their dynamic. We cut to the intro scene, then back to see kids running towards the theme park. The intercom voice booms, "Welcome to Surf City, dive into the fun. Surf is up." It sounds like a command, not an invitation. Vince and Deja walk into the park, the sun beating down. Vince pleads, "Can we just get this over with, please?" Deja sighs, "This is going to be a long day." The bureaucracy of joy begins. Deja tells Dee Dee to hold up so she can give him a pen. She looks in her purse, nothing. She asks Vince to go get one. He makes a face of pure disdain, but goes. Vince stands in front of the information booth where two loud black women are engrossed in a conversation, paying him absolute dust. Vince says, "Excuse me," nothing. He slides the glass door open aggressively. Bam! One woman asks, "Can I help you?" Vince, "I need a birthday pin." The other woman says, "We are on a break," and immediately returns to her conversation as if Vince has ceased to exist. One girl looks over, sees Vince still standing there like a statue of annoyance, and asks, "Is it for you?" He replies with maximum attitude, "Does it matter?" She says, "Yeah, it does. We only give pins to kids." The other adds, "And you are grown." Vince demands, "Give me the freaking pin." The girl warns him, "Do not do that." The other demands proof. "Show us the kid." With an attitude that could curdle milk, Vince turns his head and points at Deja and the boys smiling and taking pictures in the distance. The girl asks, "That is your baby?" Vince, without missing a beat, lies, "No, he is a Make-A-Wish." That line right there, that is the dark comedy gold. The girl smiles sympathetically, asks the name, and Vince grabs a handful of pins. As he leaves, he mutters, "I hate you all." He backs right into a fur character. The women in the booth are yelling at him not to come back. The character shoves Vince and stares at him with the dead, plastic eyes of a mascot costume. It is menacing. Vince walks back to Deja and the boys, hands over the pin. He tries to escape to the car, but Deja forces him into the photo. The fur character tries to put an arm around Vince. Vince tells him to get off. They smile for the camera, but Vince notices the character, let us call him fake Bart Simpson, is staring. It is a white guy in a suit with black shades and yellow spiky hair. Vince asks, "What is up with dude?" Deja dismisses it. You cannot even see his eyes. Vince insists, "I feel like he is staring at us." Fake Bart walks over, Dee Dee yells, "Dude," and hugs him, but over the kid's shoulder, fake Bart and Vince lock eyes. A dark, silent stare-off while the camera shutter clicks. This scene is very creepy and dark, a moment of inexplicable hostility amidst the forced happiness. Deja yells, "Now it is time for rides." We cut to Vince in a bumper car. A little kid drives right into him and yells, "Move, fool." Vince yells back, "Forget you." The kid retorts, "Forget you too, punk. It is a war zone." Vince is beefing with children. Later, getting off another ride, Dee Dee complains, "My stomach hurts. When are we eating?" Deja asks Vince, "Did you not feed everybody before we came here?" Vince admits, "No, I only fed Deshawn." Why? I do not know them or their dietary restrictions. At that point, does it matter? We can eat here. You want a chicken, right? The chant begins. The kids start chanting, "We want chicken, we want chicken." It is primal. Vince goes to the line. He sees a mom telling her son she does not have money for fries. Vince, perhaps feeling a pang of recognition from his own childhood, offers cash. "Excuse me?" he asks gently. Her reaction? She bites his head off. "Do we look homeless to you? I do not need your money." The rejection of charity, the pride, it stings. Vince steps to the counter. The guy yells, "Next!" Vince starts to order, but the guy cuts him off. "Dark or white meat?" Vince says dark. "We are out of dark meat." Vince says, "I will take some white meat then." The guy asks the back, then tells Vince, "We are out of that too." Vince, vibrating with frustration, "So, what do you all have?" The guy says, "Look, fool, I'm going to need you to keep this line moving. If you want to eat, you have to come back and get some of that dinner chicken." Vince moves aside, watches the guy hand a bag to someone else. Vince steps back up. "Is that chicken?" The guy yells, "We have not got any chicken for you. That back there, that is my deep fryer. That means it is my chicken and that is my friend." The absurdity, the nepotism of the deep fryer. Vince makes a noise with his mouth, smiles a smile that does not reach his eyes, says, "Yeah, okay," and walks off. His phone buzzes. Deja asks where he is. As he walks, looking down, the PA system announces, "If you are having issues with phone reception, there is nothing we can do for you. Our sincere apologies. It is the universe mocking him." An indirect way of letting us know Vince is isolated. Then the Oracle appears. an Asian guy with a big straw hat mopping the floor. He looks at Vince. Hey, Vince, what is up? The guy asks, you looking for chicken? Vince, you know where it is at? The Asian guy whispers, there might be another restaurant, allegedly. Allegedly, follow the yellow brick. Vince is confused. The janitor explains the path, past Splash Town, past the carousel, to a dark tunnel. Walk up it, not down it. It is going to be right there next to Ocean Madness. Red door, he adds ominously. Careful there, Vince. Letters appear across the screen in that signature. Vince staples blue, what we do for love. Vince walks toward the dark, creepy tunnel. He hesitates, he says, forget it, and walks in. It is pitch black. A neon chicken sign is the only light. A cloudy red fog covers the screen. A creaking red door opens. Vince walks up the stairs into a room that feels ripped out of a Jordan Peele nightmare. A white guy stands behind a podium. Vince asks, how you doing, bro? The guy just smiles, a creepy, frozen smile. He has red pimp marks on his face. The music is dissonant. Vince orders 2 20-piece dinners with title tots. Does that come with biscuits? The guy stares. Vince nervously says, you all right, bro. Add the biscuits and lemonade, no coleslaw, please. He hands over money. The guy hands back a $10 bill. Vince says, that is expensive. The white guy points to a sign. Cooked fresh, we call you. Vince backs away, terrified. Montage of screams. Deja in a gift shop. She sees a chubby boy crying because his granny gave him no money. She tells him to get whatever he wants. She goes to the counter, polite, asking for a birthday discount. The employee, he looks at the pen and says, heck no, you all are stealing. Deja, stealing? Guy, yes. I see T'Challa over there stealing, and I see the fat one stealing too. You all are lucky I do not call security. Deja, first of all, there is no security at Janky Surf City. Second, why would I be stealing $10 t-shirts? I am not broke. Guy, yes, you are broke, because if you were not broke, you would be at Disneyland. Now get out my show. Deja threatens him. I am going to have my boyfriend come beat you up. Guy, your boyfriend? Deja, Vince Staples. Guy, who is Vince Staples? He asks his coworker. She shakes her head. Nobody knows him here. He has no power here. Meanwhile, Vince wanders into an empty theater, a circus act. An older white magician calls his assistant to bring his top hat. He performs for an audience of 1. Vince eating popcorn. Do you believe in magic? No. After tonight, you will. The magician asks for volunteers. Crickets. Vince shakes his head. The magician calls Charlotte, his assistant. He claims she has stomach problems and he needs to operate with an electric saw. He counts down. He saws. It is unimpressive. Vince gets up to leave. The magician yells, please, I need this. He promises a trick banned in many countries. The catch. Vince stops. Curiosity strikes. He turns back. The magician opens a box with a glowing red light. Drum roll. Suspense builds. The magician reaches in. We see only Vince's face. Loud gunshot. A woman screams. Vince looks shocked, then spills his popcorn and starts clapping, loudly, smiling, as if he has just witnessed the greatest feat of humanity. He loves the chaos. Cut back to the booth. Deja confronts the 2 women. I need to speak to a manager. I was racially profiled. The women laugh. Girl, that is impossible. Black people cannot be racist. The other adds that part. Racism is a social construct backed by systematic oppression, and we simply do not have the power. Plus, he said you were looking at him with white gaze. Deja demands a manager. They say, girl, we are on break, and slide the door shut. New title card, What Haunts Us? A white woman paints on black paper. She asks Vince, do you love her? He stammers. She says, love is the beginning and ending of everything. She turns the drawing around, a black guy with knots on his cheeks crying, and a white guy behind him laughing. Suddenly, dark, dramatic music. Fake Bart Simpson attacks Vince from behind. He chokes him. Vince fights. It is brutal. Meanwhile, Deja is with the kids. Deshaun is scared of a ride. He asks if Vince would ride with him. Deja says yes, but they cannot reach him. Is he okay? Do not worry about him because he is not worried about us. Back to the fight. Vince runs into a haunted section. Locked door. He is surrounded by a gang of fur characters. They punch their fists into their hands. A furry beatdown is imminent. Vince stances up, he punches fake Bart, but then fake Bart goes full Bruce Lee, spin kicks, knees. Vince yells, "Whoa, wait!" Fake Bart kicks him to the floor. The mascots stomp him out. Vince's phone buzzes, the beating stops. It is the chicken place, his food is ready. Vince, blood on his lip, answers. He walks back to the creepy chicken spot. The weird guy hands him bags. Vince asks for hot sauce. The guy points to a sign. Vince pays. The guy puts 3 packets in. Vince points to the no change sign and yells, "Then give all of it then." The guy pours the entire cup of sauce into the bag. Petty, spiteful. Vince walks to the table where Deja and the boys look exhausted. He throws the bags down. Deja yells. He yells back. A shouting match, cursing in front of the kids. A guy walks up, places a birthday cake with lit candles on the table right between them. They are screaming at each other over the flickering light of a celebration that has turned into a disaster. The screen cuts to black. The end. Now, let us get into the philosophical core of this masterpiece, the central message. What stood out to me and what was painful to watch was how Vince treated those boys. He was disrespectful, he was cold, and this was not accidental. This highlighted a profound sociological truth, how Black people can inherit hate, drama, and trauma and pass it down to their kids like a family heirloom nobody wants. We see flashes of Vince's mother in this series, how she treated him. And here in the sun-bleached purgatory of Surf City, Vince becomes the thing he likely resented. He treats Deja's little brother and the other boys with that same hardened exterior. His rationale, he thinks they need to toughen up. He thinks the world is hard, so he must be harder. But what does that create? It creates another angry Black man. It creates a cycle. The episode ends with him and Deja arguing over something so stupid. Why? Because they both had a bad day. The world beat on them, the park employees gaslit them, the mascots physically assaulted them, and instead of coming together, they turned on each other. This is the tragedy. I believe this whole episode is satire, high-level satire. It is meant to teach us something, especially Black folks who pass down their pain onto their children. It is a sad cycle that someone has to break because it is like a generational curse tearing Black families down from the inside. We need to do better in raising our kids, teach them problem solving, not just survival. I understand life pushes us to our limits, but looking at that final shot, the candles burning while the parents scream, it is a warning. If we do not break the cycle, we burn down the birthday party. But wait, we are not done. It is time for the obsessive deep dive. The details you missed while you were distracted by the furries and the fried chicken. First, let us talk about the color theory. Did you notice the prevalence of Vince Staples blue in the title cards? It contrasts sharply with the red door. Blue represents the cold reality of Vince's cynicism, while red represents the surreal, the dangerous, the Wizard of Oz world he steps into. Speaking of the Wizard of Oz, the Asian janitor telling him to follow the yellow brick is not just a throwaway line. It frames the entire chicken quest as a journey to see the wizard. But in this version, the wizard is a creepy white guy with red pimp marks on his face who serves expensive chicken in a dungeon. There is no magic here, only commerce and grease. Notice the sound design during the magic show. When the gun goes off, the sound is deafening, but the silence immediately after is where the art lies. Vince's clap is the only sound that breaks the vacuum. It tells us that Vince appreciates the grotesque. He is desensitized to violence to the point where it becomes entertainment. And let us look at the fake Bart Simpson. Why Bart? Bart Simpson is the ultimate symbol of mischievous rebellion from the 90s. But here, he is distorted, bootlegged, and violent. It is a corruption of childhood nostalgia. The mascots are not there to entertain. They are a gang. This subverts the entire concept of a theme park as a safe haven. Also, the ambiguous comment from the ticket booth lady. She says Deja has the white gaze and looks ambiguous. This is a deep-cut commentary on colorism and the policing of Black identity within the community itself. Even inside the park, among their own people, Vince and Deja are outsiders. It is time for the final verdict. This episode, Red Door, gets a popcorn bucket score of 5 out of 5. Why? Because it is fearless, it is messy, Loud, confusing, and absolutely brilliant. It captures the specific frustration of being broke at a theme park better than any drama I have ever seen. It balances the surreal horror of the mascot beatdown with the grounded realism of a relationship argument. It is Atlanta meets the Twilight Zone with a West Coast filter. Compared to other shows in the genre, it takes bigger risks. It does not care if you like Vince. In fact, it almost dares you to dislike him, and that bravery is worth a perfect score. This has been Warbucks on The Real Review. Remember, life is a theme park. The lines are long, the chicken is expensive, and the mascots might jump you, but try not to scream over the birthday cake. Until next time, keep your eyes on the screen and your headphones on.